Today we want to just do a video incorporating some of the previous trips videos all into one content around Yeagarup Dunes, Yeagarup Beach, Warren River and Callcup Hill, that whole area that we have visited in the past on a couple of occasions. I've usually done them as a whole trip for on a multiple days because we generally end up in the other location, but I thought it'd be better to split it up and we just have a look at just that area itself, at Yeagarup itself, as a tour. And before I go any further, I'd love to point out here the little diagram. A lot of people love to watch our videos, or at least watch our videos, but don't subscribe. And we'd love to see, if you do enjoy watching the videos, I encourage you to subscribe, hit the like button and so forth, because it really helps grow the channel. Plus, as soon as we hit our 500 subscriber number, which we're not too far away from, we're going to be doing a big prize giveaway, including some of the stuff that you're going to be seeing on screen, which I'll list in the description. It's not a full list, we're still getting more and more stuff together as part of our giveaway, including the four-wheel drive detail gear, a little recovery kit bag, some fishing tackle, a fishing rod, and so some of the stuff that you've seen on screen already, that'll all be part of that giveaway. So make sure you hit subscribe to be part of that. Thanks to our Patreon members who have jumped on board to help support us and creating our videos. And if you want to be part of that, look at the description in the video below, and I'll tell you all about what Patreon does and what you get out of it, as well as helping us create our videos. Anyway, getting into the trip. So this is a map to tell you how long it takes to get to Yeagarup. So it takes roughly 4 hours to drive there in total. If you were just going to drive to the actual dune entry point, it's 4 hours. I usually leave on a Friday evening so I can stop halfway down where that other arrow is indicating, and then head the rest of the way if it's a Saturday. So you can look at the terrain view. This is satellite view, and we look at a close-up. So the first arrow is where the entry points to the dune are. The second arrow is where you come in to the actual park, the national park. So that's our area there. When we zoom in closer on Google Maps, you can see all the tracks heading in. So these are the tracks we want to follow in towards the Yeagarup dunes, and eventually, I mean, it's noted, so you can't miss them, and you just follow the track until you basically get to the spot. You'll actually see a point where it's a station there where it actually says you're heading into the national park and you need to have your national park pass, etc. So you'll know that you're heading in, and to deflate your tyres. Then you'll be coming up into this type of terrain. This is once you get past the main entry point, and you'll head into conditions like this. This is just prior to coming up to the first dune that you have to ascend, to then head along that main dune that you saw on the Google Maps view that will cross a lot. So you'll have to get up that dune. That's the first part, or the hardest part of getting up. And if you can get up that one, hopefully you shouldn't have any issues with the next lot. But Callcup Hill is a lot harder, but this is just to test out the first part. So it's good here because you generally have this wide open space like this, and then you gather it up enough momentum to get up this dune here. Hopefully, this is sped up video, by the way, we're not going actually this fast, but you should get up like this. This is not too bad on this day. It wasn't chopped up when you went up that dune on this occasion when this is being filmed, but I have been up on there when that has been chopped up, and it doesn't make it that easy. So it's all about tyre pressures, and sometimes dropping down your tyre pressure if perhaps you don't make it all the way up, or reversing back a little bit further, because the section just in front can get really choppy if people over a weekend perhaps have been going up and down it, have bogged it up, or have churned up a section. You're going to lose a lot of momentum, and you're not going to build the traction that you need to get up that little dune, or you'll slow down before you hit the very top. So sometimes going back around the corner a little bit where it's firmer, build up the speed, and going up will get you up just fine, or dropping down 1 or 2 psi will get you up. So that's usually no dramas. Once you hit the top, the top of the surface is really firm through once you're driving along the top of this dune. It's really nice driving through here, and you can't get lost. The tracks are pretty consistent, and you notice there are white little markers you'll see as we pass. Even though this is sped up, you'll see them every now and again. They're white markers. They're just there to help you know that you're going in the right direction and not to go off that side of that path. It's leading you in towards the direction we want to go in to get onto the next track that takes you down through the bush section of the track to get onto Yeagarup beach itself. So anyhow, that's a little bit of a video. That was a convoy of our trip of a number of us that from the group that went down, that we were travelling down there with. So that's just looking from behind. I'm actually watching it myself. But yeah, so you go through that section. Once you get through majority of all this, then you are going to get start heading through sections where the surface will get softer in some sections. Some sections will be more churned up than others. Sometimes you'll have to go slower than normal. Sometimes there's some wombatty holes. So the conditions can change, because what we're seeing, like if you have a look here, so this is some of the sections as you get in through the actual bush track. As you get towards the beach, you get this is the type of track that you're going to experience. As you go through and you get through this type of tracks, this is why you want to have that PSI level at the correct rate, because it is kind of soft through here and you can get it kind of choppy as well. Here you can see kind of some of the areas where you might have, I've left in most of parts where you may encounter a little bit of difficulty so that you can see what that's like. So you can see how some bits are a little bit more, aren't as straightforward as others, where you've got a little bit of flexing that you might need to do, a little bit of a bumpy ride in sections. Some bits open up and then other bits close in, and you've got a really closed in pathway in certain sections. So that's why you might need to go a little bit slower to be aware of oncoming vehicles, just in case, because some people do go around, come down Callcup Hill and then come up the way that we are coming in. That's another route that some people take. I usually come in this way and go up Callcup, only for the challenge factor. But yeah, some people will come up this, so be aware that that could be happening. So always be on the lookout for that and needing to come off to the side. So as you can see, yeah, the terrain throughout this whole section changes and can be different. You can see sections where there is even parts where you could possibly camp off to the side. If to note here, because this was on a trip where this was my vehicle and I was filming, coming down just before we hit the beach itself, there is a long drop down onto down a hill, and you can see the vehicle in front of me was going straight, and then all of a sudden he starts to accidentally steer, or it starts to go out in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, I moved forward because I was communicating with him on the radio just to make sure he was all good. But the good thing is he didn't keep going, or he didn't try and steer in the wrong direction. He fixes it, he steers down into the dune and carries on, and that's what you want to see, action, because when you're on a dune like that, particularly if it's steep, because it's hard to tell in this video, but it is actually quite steep, that hill. So if you're going down it and you accidentally start turning like that, it's very easy for this to then turn into an accident where you turn straight and then a tip action happens like that. So it isn't that hard for something like that to occur, and we don't want that. So yeah, always go facing straight with the hill, even if it's not in the desired direction, and then you can get down towards the bottom and then steer a little bit. Don't so if you start steering off like that, do exactly what he did. Just stopped, then steered into it and went down the hill. That was perfectly fixed up from there, which was great. And then we get to the last sort of section before you hit to the actual, this is the last little tiny section before you actually hit Yeagarup beach itself. So there is a decent bit of full driving, which I quite enjoyed doing. So for me this was fun. And then you hit the beach. Now I always like to go left, like when I'm hitting the beach, because this, as you come around this corner, you know you're going to hit to the beach. You see it coming up. This is really soft when you enter onto the beach. So this is why I always like to know where I'm going, if I'm going to be turning left or right. Because if you turn the wrong direction and you don't have the right amount of space, or if it's not as firm, or if it's been churned up or whatever, you don't want to make the wrong decision and then get stuck. We're in this video we've got here, we're down at low tide, so there is a lot of the actual beach to work with, which was fantastic, and it was quite firm on this occasion, which is really good. So immediately turned left and carried on, because left is towards where the Warren River is and where Callcup Hill is. You can go right as well. Obviously there's nothing stopping you from going right, and there's always great fishing along here. A lot of people during salmon season were catching a lot of salmon through Yeagarup. Just a little bit of a different view from underneath one of the vehicles to show you what it looks like as you're going along the beach, but yeah, just a different camera view. That's us moving along the beach. This is obviously sped up. That's not us. I wouldn't recommend. We don't fly along that fast along the beach. But yeah, this is a different. So this is a different occasion, but this is actually crossing the Warren River. Sometimes it's actually all the way to the ocean. You can't get through. So when we cross it, as you can see in one of the images, one of our crew was out the front that was directing the vehicles on the correct route. So we sussed out how to cross the Warren River. So you don't just cross the shortest path. You make sure you go out there, you test out the silt. You could see to where this is my vehicle crossing. So we came out straight. You can see there's one of our members is directing, so I can stay on the correct pathway. And we're all set up and rigged. You can see there my snatch strap is actually attached and through my window. So if I got stuck, I was always ready to go in that case. So always be prepared if you're doing a river crossing. And in the case of a river crossing, always make sure you go out and check it and test it before you go jumping in the river and just going across it. So in this case, on this trip, the river actually hadn't met the ocean, so we were able to cut just straight through here. So that was fortunate. So there was no river crossing there, which was kind of handy. But yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, that you got to pick your correct path that you're going to take through the actual river. So it's got to be that section. So it may not be the shortest path, because sometimes the shortest path is a deeper path, and a lot of people might hit it at speed thinking, if I do it really fast, I'm not going to get stuck. In actual fact, that's not the best way to do a river crossing. So go nice and slow after you've already tested it out. So get out, walk through where you're going to go, test out where the silt is moving as well, see how much is changing, and then you map out your path across the river before you just go driving across. Just don't, the last thing you want to do is be stuck in a river and trying to do recovery. Same with setting things up before you go into the river is always a really smart thing to do. So anyway, we're heading along Yeagarup Beach, and we're waiting to get to the Callcup Hill exit. So it's a bit further along. So this is it here. You'll see it's pretty obvious. You take this left hand turn. This is quite soft getting up this hill here. So if you don't go in, so this is from a previous trip, and I hadn't gone in with the correct momentum for this one, and I didn't start my turn in the correct way. I was trying to come up the turn, and I turned in the wrong way, and then when I reversed back, you see what I did with my tire, I accidentally turned it that way. and I actually got it stuck as a result of turning it too fast. So I had to get out and let the air out more, and as a result of that I was able to get up. So we're going to get up that hill. It's not a steep rocky hill, but yeah, it's a nice hill to get up and climb. So this is the Callcup Hill. So you start at the bottom. It's a fair bit of flat, and this is fantastic. You got this nice long section of flat before you actually hit the hill. So now you're starting to hit the actual Callcup Hill, stage 1. So this is, you're starting to get towards the top of stage 1, and you're starting to lose around here is where you start to slow down. You can even see it with the video. The video has slowed down a lot already. That's just the speed has been really taken off. My foot's flat down as I'm trying to get up the hill, powering through, and then you hit this peak as you stop, and then it drops. That's the end, and then it drops down into the next section, and you hit the flat basin again, and it has a slight incline along this flat basin, which allows you to gain more momentum again. This is just actually a reverse camera from the back looking as I go up from that first section, so you can see how far we come up from the actual beach towards where that first landing is, that first section is. You can see how far away the beach is just in this image, in this camera view now. This is the reverse of me coming up that hill, how far away it is. So you can see it's a long way to come up, so you really need to have that right PSI. And this is that second section. So if we carry along from that downhill, and then we carry along the flat bit, then the slight incline, and now we start our second climb. So you want to maintain that same speed. So once you come down and up, you've got the momentum going. You continue to power through until you hit to the very top, and you can either stop off to that top to the left there, or turn directly right. Directly right is where you finish. This is easy going here. I actually stopped here just to take a picture off to the side. And then this is it, pretty much. This is the easiest bit, and then around the corner you can pump up your tyres a little bit, because they've put rubber mats, and it makes the rest of the way of getting out easier. But that's pretty much it. That is the dunes, the actual beach run, crossing the river, getting up Callcup Hill. That is the complete lot, so you know what you would to experience. So this is where you'd stop. Put a little bit more air in your tyres, because the rest of the way is easy. So that's the stop at the very top of Callcup Hill, looking towards the beach. So you can see how far up we come. It's a long one to come up, but it's a lot of fun to do. So I want to thank all our Patreon supporters, and if you're interested, go out and check the link in the description. There's a lot of benefits involved if you want. And if you like the video, please hit like and subscribe, and help our channel grow, and I'll catch you on the next video.